Hello everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Quaker State Late Model Action. We are here for the 10th race of the season here at Chili Bowl. And we're going to get right on into your first heat event, which is going to feature Chris Dodd and Gabriel Wanderley on the front row. Kyle Collins, another CJ Racing car, next to Lucas Tran, your points leader, in row 2. Jake Rogers and Zachary Fitzwater make up row number 3. Eric Willis and Carson Scott will make up row number 4. TJ Hanley, Henrietta Fitzwater is going to be row number 5. Ferdinand Gabat in the 76 car and the 21E of Patrick Curtis will make up row 6. Row number 7 will go to the 5 of Joshua Jones, and on his outside is the 12A of Kyle Maxwell. And finally, going to round out your field all alone in that back row is going to be the G5 of Brock McMahon in that 15th place. Let's get right on into your first heat event. Chris Dodd leads him down to the stripe. Green flag is out in the air. And Dodd, a nice run into the corner. The 83 of Kyle Collins right on his tail. Jake Rogers in third, but he's getting dogged from the 604 car of Eric Willis. TJ Hanley currently holding that 5th spot. And it looks like Hanley's going to also get by the 98 of Jake Rogers. The field has kind of pulled out a little bit, that top 5 at least. And the driver who's currently in 6th so far is one of the drivers who doesn't want to be in 6th, is the 4 car of Lucas Tran. He's your current points leader, and he's trying to defend a points championship so far, and being in 6th really doesn't help you in the heat race. However, another driver who's defending at least something in his points standing is the 98 of Jake Rogers. He's trying to keep himself alive in the points. Currently with 160 in 10th in the 10th position. Only 3 points from going out in the final event. But if he does not get those 3 points, he does not become in contention for the final points chase, which would be that last race at Devil's Bowl in Mesquite, Texas. Devil's Bowl being the finale of the series, as we're getting down to the pretty much the nitty-gritty of the points championship, as we see 2 laps to go coming by. This time, the 4-car dog in the back of the 98 just cannot get a good entry into the corner. Tried to take the high line, but did not stick very well. A couple of cars scraping the outside wall on this track. And this is probably one of the smaller tracks that we're going to be to. However, final lap as they come by, the 8 car of Chris Dodd will lead them down to the checkered flag, and Jake Rogers will take home that 5th spot. Lucas Tran finishing in 6th. Chris Dodd, Kyle Collins, Eric Willis, TJ Hanley, and Jake Rogers, they will all transfer on to the feature event here at the Chili Bowl Raceway. Here's your second heat race lineup, the 334 and 26. Bob Shopke and Jack Porkins, always familiars up at the front. Alex Tanker and Nick Pericles will make up row number 2. JT Hanley and Roy Bruce make up row 3. Sam Rogers and Dejan Weeks make up row 4. Row 5 is the 2 car of Cody Smart. To his outside is the 13B of Tanya Breyer. The 62V of Eric Hayden is going to be the inside of row 6, and on his outside, Daniel Maxwell. Matthew Brown in the 6th, and Mike Serra in the 7th row. And finally, rounding out your field all alone in the 224 car will be Callum Wood. That's your heat number 2 lineup, as Bob Shopke leads them down to the stripe. Green flag is in the air as they head into turn 1. Shopke also with a great jump. He pretty much did exactly what Chris Dodd pulled in the first heat race. Nick Pericles wanting to make it through in the heat race, so that way he doesn't have to pretty much be forced to race in from the last chance showdown. However, Cody Smart wants to see himself up at the top spot. So you can see there's your top 5. Jack Porkins, the one holding that 5th position. But now the 6 of Matthew Brown, coming from pretty far back in the field, He's trying to make something up as he gets into the 5th spot. The 53 of not Alex Tanker, of Sam Rogers. He's going to come in behind the 6 car, but still a pretty big ways between the 6 and the 53. That's a pretty big gap that the 53 of Sam Rogers has to fill. And already we're past halfway on lap number 6 of this heat race. And the heat races go really fast at this track because it's a really short track. The laps are run really quickly. And if you don't get up to the front as fast as you can, you could pretty much be knocked out of the feature contention. However, Bob Schopke doesn't have to worry about that, as he's currently up at the catbird seat and is just pretty much pulled away from the rest of this heat race field, as nobody seems to be able to catch that 334 car. The 50 of Alex Tanker has always had somewhat decent speed throughout the year, but just hasn't been able to show it against drivers like Bob Schopke due to the fact that they're just so fast around this racetrack. However, white flag is out, 1 lap to go, as Bob Schopke, coming into turns 3 and 4, will come around, win your second heat race. And as the field goes by, the 6 car of Matthew Brown will take home the Heat 2 5th position. Bob Schopke, Alex Tanker, JT Hanley, Cody Smart, and Matthew Brown, they will make up the second half of your heat race transfers. And now we're going to go into the last chance showdown, which is going to be led by Eric Willis and Henrietta Fitzwater into the front row. Dejan Weeks and Sam Rogers will make up row number 2. Zachary Fitzwater and Lucas Tran will make up row 3. Roy Bruce and Ferdinand Gabat make up row 4, while Jack Porkins and Tanya Blair make up row 5. The 5 of Joshua Jones and the 62V of Eric Hayden, the 62V of Eric Hayden make up row 6. Mike Serra and Brock McMahon make up row 7. Gabriel Wanderley, Carson Scott, row 8. Row 9 is Daniel Maxwell and Patrick Curtis. And your final row will be the 12A of Kyle Maxwell, and the 224, again in the very back of the field, is Callum Wood. That is going to be your last chance showdown lineup as we get into the racing. Eric Willis leads him to the stripe, and we are down into turn 1 green. Willis with a nice jump. Pretty much has been seen all day. However, not as big of a jump as we've seen with Chris Dodd and Bob Schopke. Dejan Weeks is able to hold behind him. Here's one of the battles, I believe, for 4th between Porkins, one of the Fitzwater cars, and the 808 of Roy Bruce. I believe that's Henrietta Fitzwater, who's just been caught on the outside of a 3-wide situation. A nice move by Porkins, and the fact that they were even able to stay that way and not wreck. Another 3-wide going on there between Lucas Tran, Kyle Maxwell, and Sam Rogers. And Lucas Tran will come out pretty much in net zero with that as well. As now the 48 of Gabriel Wanderley is going to move into that spot that was held by both Henrietta Fitzwater and Lucas Tran. Both drivers now desperately trying to catch back up to that 48 car. Lucas Tran, though, has the preferred line, and he's going to try and make a move to that inside lane. Doesn't know if he'll get it or not, but he's going to be able to stay on the quarter panel of the 48 car and get into turn 1 with a better line. It's side by side for that 10th position, with the 4 car desperately trying to make it into this feature event. Looks like the 48 may have scraped the wall coming into turn 1. That could scrub off a little bit of speed and allow the 25 of Carson Scott to take over. However, they're both chasing down the 4 car of Lucas Tran, and a lot of drivers want to see Lucas Tran miss this feature event because that means a lot of good for their point standings. But now the 48 car moving down to the inside of Lucas Tran, a nice run into turns 3 and 4, and then completes the pass coming out of 2. Now Carson Scott moving down below the 4 car. The The 4 car is just now starting to fall off a little bit as the 25 Carson Scott gets to his inside. Now he's going to look at that 48 car for the feature transfer spot. And this is a pretty good race for that 10th position, as a lot of drivers are fighting to get into that position. 25 at Carson Scott, however, currently holding 11th. The 48 car, Gabriel Wanderley, doesn't have the speed to keep up with the 25, as the 25 gets a nice run into turns 3 and 4. And pretty much that's been the name of the game all race, is get a good run in 3 and 4, and then you can pretty much make a pass in 1 and 2 and complete it. Now Lucas Tran coming to the inside of the 48 car, but we're going to make your way up to the front of the field. The 604 of Eric Willis, current leader, and has pulled away from Dejan Weeks a fair bit. Coming up on lap traffic, it seems. As we can see, Eric Willis continuing to lead this race. Lap number 18, as the laps tick by quickly. Jack Porkins, Roy Bruce, Daniel Maxwell, Kyle Maxwell, and also Joshua Jones. A lot of names that we don't usually see up at the front of the field. Lap number 19. 2 laps to go for this field of race cars. The 25 of Carson Scott, currently holding your 10th position. And now the white flag is in the air, 1 lap to go. As Eric Willis comes around, takes the checkered flag. And it looks like the 25 car, the 4 car, will end up missing the feature race by 1 position. And this points race just got interesting, as Eric Willis will win the last chance showdown. Dejan Weeks in second. Third is Zachary Fitzwater. Fourth is Jack Porkins. Fifth is Roy Bruce. Sixth is Mike Serra. Seventh, Daniel Maxwell. Eighth is Joshua Jones. Ninth is Kyle Maxwell, good on the 2 Maxwell brothers. And 10th will be Carson Scott. And the drivers missing the feature, Lucas Tran, a very big development, will miss the feature event in 11th. 12th is going to be Eric Hayden. 13th is Gabriel Wanderley. 14th, Patrick Curtis. 15th, Sam Rogers. 16th, Tanya Breyer. 17th, Henrietta Fitzwater. Callum Wood, 18th. Ferdinand Gabot, 19th. And a slew of bad finishes. Gets even worse for Brock McMahon, who finishes dead last in 20th. And that'll wrap up the Heat and LCS races here at the Chili Bowl. We'll see you guys next time for the feature event here at the Chili Bowl. And this points race just got interesting, so we'll see you guys next time for the feature.